Mary, the woman we know as Mother of God, was one like us, a person who lived each day and faced the joys and the challenges of each day. We meet Mary first in Scripture as a frightened adolescent who is being asked to do an almost impossible thing. The last time we meet her in Scripture, she is an older woman, more confident certainly, yet still being asked to do an almost impossible thing. In our reflection today, let us together explore what some of the biblical texts tell us about this woman who lived 2,000 years ago. Mary is called by name in the Gospels of Matthew, Mark, and Luke, and in the Acts of the Apostles. The Gospel of John never calls her by name, but always refers to her as the mother of Jesus. Paul mentions her indirectly in his letters, never by name, but reminds us on several occasions that Jesus was born of a woman. Let us imagine, with the help of insights from archaeology and social sciences, what Mary's life would have been like 2,000 years ago. We know that she was a Jewish peasant who was born and lived in Nazareth, a small rural village in the north of Israel, near the eastern Mediterranean Sea. As an adolescent girl, she married a local carpenter named Joseph, likely someone close to her own age. From what we can tell, they had a good marriage. By the time their son began his public ministry, Joseph was never mentioned, and we conclude that he must have died by then. In their everyday life, Mary's time would have been spent feeding her family, clothing them, and providing childcare. She probably kept sheep, goats, and a cow, planted a kitchen garden, and made the baskets and pottery used in her home. That home was probably a stone house of 2 rooms with a thatched roof. More than likely, other family members, their parents or aunts and uncles, lived with them, since most peasants' homes in this period would have family members from many generations living together. With the other village women, she probably went daily to their common oven to do the cooking, to the well to fetch water for cooking and cleaning, and to the wine press and olive press. In other words, Mary lived and worked as do most poor women in countries throughout our world today. Although she probably could not read or write, Mary would have had responsibility for nurturing her son in her religious tradition, her Jewish faith in one living God, a God who hears the cry of the poor. She and Joseph would have practiced the Jewish religion in their home, followed the Torah, recited prayers, and observed the Sabbath and festivals. They would have gone regularly to the synagogue in Nazareth and occasionally to the temple in Jerusalem. We are told about specific occasions when they went to the temple as a family, first for the purification of the child and his mother when they offered sacrifice, and each year when they went for the festival of Passover. Mary would have heard Hebrew spoken in the synagogue and the temple, but her spoken language was Aramaic. She lived in a time of uncertainty when the Judeans and Galileans were often rebelling against the power of the Romans. These rebellions were quickly put down by the Romans, but there was a continuing state of warfare with the normal conditions of such warfare: distrust, fear, robbery, and rape. We are told in the 2nd chapter of Luke that Mary heard the words of Simeon and treasured all these things in her heart. The theologian Elizabeth Johnson, referring to words from the Old Testament Book of Wisdom, calls Mary a friend of God and a prophet. Another theologian, Elizabeth Julian, tells us that Mary was a woman who imaged God, reminding all of us that every woman is made in the image of God. We are reminded of the words from the book of Isaiah, "Does a woman forget her baby at the breast, or fail to cherish the child of her womb? Yet, even if she should forget, I will never forget you. Mary was a virgin and a mother, a faithful disciple, and a woman praised by her son for doing the will of God, a woman who challenged her own son to be the person he was called to become. Mary was a woman of Nazareth who walked a challenging journey, never losing her faith or her trust that she was doing God's will. In so many wondrous ways, Mary's life echoes yours and mine.